Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome on into today's FreightWaves Now Community Spotlight. I'm Kayla Nix, joined as always on this Tuesday by Mary O'Connell. Today we are checking in with the 3PL space, talking all about TMS. Mary, thanks for being here.
Anytime, guys. You know, there's no better way to start your Taco Tuesday than right here with you guys.
And then there's no better way to end it than with a fat chicken crunchy taco. I think that's the way that I got to end this Taco Tuesday. Let's move on into today's topic of choice, and it's brought to you by our sponsor of Check Call this month, Tai Software. Of course, we love them for their TMS capabilities, and they are one of those TMSs on the market that is continually trying to innovate. Talk to us a little bit about your guest.
Yeah, so we have the pleasure this week of talking to Mitch Mitchell, the CEO of Tai. And as we all know, Mitch is no stranger to the show. He is a blast and a half to have. He's kind of getting up to the David Spencer level of ridiculous questions we've asked him. But on a much more serious note, we really kind of focus on, we've dug into the build versus buy situation. We've dug into, how do I know what TMS is right for me or what I should look for in a TMS provider? But more importantly, this time we dug into how do I know when it's time for me to get a new TMS? How do I know when the 4 extra steps I'm taking to make something work is actually, that's 4 steps too many. So we really kind of got into the, how do I know when it's time for me to start looking for TMS providers, as well as what should I be looking for? What are kind of those table stakes in regard to technology and capabilities?
That's a question that I think a lot of folks in this space always kind of pose themselves. And then you get a little bit afraid, right? Because change is scary. And you know that when you're implementing anything, whether that be a new software or a new standard operating procedure, you can expect a little bit of pushback and then a time of kind of, I would call it like fuzziness, like nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows how to operate. Things aren't going as efficiently as they could. But you really have to fight through that to get to the other side, right? When you're looking at weighing some of those good versus bad parts of switching your TMS software, where does the good outweigh the bad? And what are some of those things that you just kind of have to sift through to make it to the other side?
So unfortunately, everyone is always on board with a new TMS until about halfway through, and then it gets hard and challenging, and everyone's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with it anymore. It's too much. This is just not fun. Like, I'm really regretting our decision, but you're already started the process. So unfortunately you can't undo it. But this is actually something that we talk about in the episode today. And that is when you it first pops into your head, hey, I think we need to get a new TMS. Write down all the reasons why you want that new TMS and why it's going to help your business and why it's going to help your productivity, your efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. So that way, when it gets hard, you can look back and say, oh, I'm not going to have to do 4 steps to download a document and upload it to a shipment. I'm not going to spend 3 days of processing before I can pay my carriers. I'm not going to have to go through 4 screens to get a load booked. Having those reasons why make those times of change where everything's really uncertain, you don't really know what's happening, you're just kind of holding on until you get to the other side. It makes us a lot easier to deal with and kind of manage, knowing that, okay, well, when we get on the other side, we're not going to have to deal with this anymore. Like, all of our headaches and problems that we've had from the last few years, they're going to be gone. I mean, probably replaced with new headaches and problems, but hopefully not as a result of your TMS provider.
Right. Just because you switch from one place to the next doesn't necessarily mean that you lose headaches. It just means that you gain new ones. So let's talk a little bit about some of those pre-existing headaches that might be in your current system that tell you that it's time to switch. When do you know that you need to start looking for a new provider? Are there some big hardline signals that pop up like red flags saying, hey, now's the time to get out?
So really, it kind of comes down to auditing your own processes. So if you, if you're a senior leadership member or a member of management, it's really important to kind of have those employees with your have those conversations with your employees or your direct reports saying, okay, well, where are pain points in your day to day? Where are you struggling? Where are you having, kind of the biggest headaches? And whether that's, and just sit with people as they kind of go about their day and, really listen to what issues they're having. So whether that's something like, the person who processes signed BOLs or signed proof of deliveries, if they receive it, maybe they have to download it or print it out or split it some way that ends up taking far longer, and then they have to upload it a certain way. Basically, if they've developed a convoluted process just to get something to work, that's maybe kind of a sign. Or if people are spending more time managing their way through the various systems that you have, that's also kind of a sign. It really just kind of comes down to taking a look at your business and saying, okay, well, where are we losing things, whether that's time, information, data, wherever we're losing something, that's something that we could potentially get back by getting a new TMS. So really, it's kind of when you either hit a certain level of growth that you need something that maybe has stronger capabilities than what you have, or you kind of have your system's a little outdated, and instead of sitting here patching and shoehorning something to make it work, it's kind of time to just accept that you need to get a new TMS.
Then the last part of that is shopping around for a provider that really aligns with your business and suits any potential paths to growth that you might have, right? There are so many different TMS providers on the market right now, and some of them are shipper focused, some of them are broker focused, some of them act as almost like a load board, some of them are integrated with load board partners. It's really all over the place, right? You can genuinely, truly run the gambit of if you need it, there's likely someone out there that has it. And if not, they're probably willing to build it for you when you go and you search for that provider. Talk a little bit about what this process is like when it comes to searching. Are you talking about maybe wanting to narrow down your options, saying like, I need X, Y, and Z in a TMS provider, and I'm only talking to people who have those things? Or is it more like speed dating, where you're going to want to gather as many demos as possible and then pick out from a pretty wide pool of options?
I think it's going to be a combination of everything. So the first thing you're going to want to do, like I said, is make that list of what you want to upgrade, why you're doing this, the things you want to change. Those are like your must-haves. And then obviously go out, and you don't want to, for example, if you're a broker, you don't want to go out and find someone that specializes in a TMS for maybe just flatbed or just reefer or specifically just for something. So you can kind of rule those out. But at the same time, you want that functionality, you want those capabilities that you're not willing to bend on. So I think you kind of have to narrow down everyone that can provide that based off of what you want. And then from there, that's when you kind of speed date and collect a lot of demos and take it back to your team and say, okay, what do we do here? How are we going to do this? Because getting your team involved early on is going to help with that change management further down the road. And so I think that making sure that you make everyone kind of a part of it is really, really important, because everyone obviously has very different perspectives and different needs and what they're looking for. So yeah, it's definitely a mix of both. But the biggest thing is when you are going to seek out a partner, and this, we've talked about this for other vendors that you work with as well, but making sure you have someone that's willing to sit and listen to what your problems are, and then actually come up with solutions and work with you to kind of achieve a goal, versus just, oh yeah, our solution will fix it, no problem. You really want to make sure that you have a true partner in your TMS provider.
I like that idea of kind of really sitting down and thinking about why you're making this change and what things you're specifically wanting to change. I know that when I'm looking for a new service provider or something like that, I always make a list of must-haves, would be nices, and can live withouts, right? And that's kind of where you start to fall into the people that work and you get rid of the ones that don't. Mary, for the show coming up later on today, where can people go ahead and find that? And
Yes, so you can just keep watching FreightWaves right here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, click the notification bell, all of that jazz. And if you need something to fill your time between now and 12:30 Eastern today, just go watch some old episodes of Check Call. And then you can find that there. And then if you want to reach out to Tai, they've really done a great campaign. They just released a new paper on some of the ways to make your brokerage more profitable. They're really kind of trying just to educate the industry and make it better for everyone. You can find them at taitms.com.
there we go. We will see you on later today. And of course, go to freightwaves.com, subscribe to that Check Call newsletter as well. Mary, we will catch you later this week for Running on Ice.
Thanks, guys. See you Friday.